Never been a hoe, I stay on go, so what the business? Nigga talking reckless, shoot this bitch ass with the quickness. Now he bleeding, sorry, begging, asking for forgiveness. Bow, 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 limp biscuit. All my niggas wildin', they done labeled us some misfits. Wake up every morning, 2 or 3, 5 in the Fitbit. Oh shit, didn't nobody come to see you old, it's some focus. Shoot 100 shots, no reloaded. Master of the game, you would think I'm into coding. Memphis niggas spit this pimpin', mackin' like I'm golden. Ho, with my money, you gon' turn me to the old me. Say hi, first class flight, I'm in the nosebleed. Hoppin', cookin', whippin', shippin', till you count the proceeds. OG, I been moving back niggas since 03. Low key, niggas hatin', but they don't want no beef. State gang, true sippers, bitch, I bet we gon' eat. Get jam, get a lawyer, make it burn it, don't speak. Pour up, oh, I need some more, nigga had a long week. Shout out to my plug, he showed me love, he out in Long Beach, I'm true geek. Walking by myself, but left with 2 freaks. Ooh, we, nothing in they mouth and on they booty. Austin Power swag, yeah, baby, this is groovy. You can call me Money Boy, or you can call me Nudie. Hood niggas, churches, chicken, let me get a 2-piece. Top down, 2-seater, let me feel the 2 breathe. Gotta hold it steady, chopper, kick it back like Bruce Lee. Lately I've been in the zone, I guess I'm in my 2-3. Don't call my phone for nothing less than a QP. Feeling like the Migos, cause my bitch is bad and bougie. All my haters love me, all these bitches is some groupies. Came a long way, I like to introduce the new me. Standing on business like I'm king or like I'm Drewski. Call me Ron Island, cause I like my love for choosy. When we link it's a movie, she bustin' like a Uzi. I love the way she do me, I beat it up like Uzi. She dancing just like Suki. Call me Ron Island, cause I look my love for choosy. When we link it's a movie, she bustin' like a Uzi. I love the way she do me, I beat it up like Uzi. She dancing just like Suki. I never been a hoe, I stay on go, so what the business? Nigga talking reckless, shoot this bitch ass with the quickness. Name pleading, sorry, baby, asking for forgiveness. Bow, 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 limp biscuit. Never been a hoe, I stay on go, so what the business? Nigga talking reckless, shoot this bitch ass with the quickness. Name pleading, sorry, baby, asking for forgiveness. Bow, 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 limp biscuit.
So cold, but I'm so hot.
Dope boys
I'm up in the trap, I'm dope boy.
with them knives.
Dope boy now.
The game so cold, but I'm so hot. Same old shit, still on the block. Same young nigga came up in the trap. I'm dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Same young nigga came up in the trap. I'm dope boy fresh with dope boy not. The game so cold, but I'm so hot. Same old shit, still on the block. Same young nigga came up in the trap. I'm dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Same young nigga came up in the trap. I'm dope boy fresh with dope boy not. I'm dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Down 8 gram, headed straight to the block. Pirates, this water walk till it's hot. Mr. Double up, turn a little to a lot. Right hand on the cell phone, taking orders. Left hand 360 motor to a lot. Blue holler tips, got switches on the dot. State gang, true sippers can't be stopped. Laughing at you haters while I'm thumbing through the paper. Says long at the bottom, won't you meet me at the top? The nigga ain't shit, yeah, get that a lot. Won't be deterred and I won't be stopped. Shaq Diesel number one, I post up on the block. 24/7 cause the hustle don't stop. 31 flavor, take an order like a waiter. I be selling more gas than a local truck stop. 1200 strong, 4 pounds of the Zop. Got me shining, I'm a star. Ask about me, I am legend. They gon' tell you who we are. Fuck these niggas, fuck these bitches. Get money, all I know. No love for these bitches. Never saving these hoes. The game so cold, but I'm so hot. Same old shit, still on the block. Same young nigga came up in the trap. I'm dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Same young nigga came up in the trap. I'm dope boy fresh with dope boy not. The game so cold, but I'm so hot. Same old shit, still on the block. Same young nigga came up in the trap. I'm dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Same young nigga came up in the trap. I'm dope boy fresh with dope boy not.
When I'm thinking about the Pass, yeah, gon' get some knots, gang, we at the spot. If we ever was short, then it's back to the block, you probably get shot. Every day the sun change, we getting money, that's one thing that's never gon' stop. Real dope boys do what it takes, playing high stakes, living to die. Do your time, keep it quiet, no matter who you are, don't get what you got. Stack it up, that's the bond to stay fresh. Oh, they think that you're not. Take a roll with a hoe, they gon' let you go. Somebody's gonna say you ain't hot. Just invest in yourself, don't worry about nobody else. There ain't no handout. If you say the same, put it on chain. Let them see you ain't tied down. Got a couple rings, did a lot of things. I ain't really gon' talk about it. Give me a trade, get you to go. She gon' show up and show out. So don't ask me what the dope at, cause you already your ground.
The game so cold, but I'm so hot. Same old shit, still on the block. Same young nigga came up in the trap. I'm dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Same young nigga came up in the trap. I'm dope boy fresh with dope boy not. The game so cold, but I'm so hot. Same old shit, still on the block. Same young nigga came up in the trap. I'm dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Same young nigga came up in the trap. I'm dope boy fresh with dope boy not. Whole team shining, we stars, big dipper. Get a lot of haystack gang in the sip. Niggas ain't real, nigga. Nope. You gotta feel me, nigga. Yep. Smile in my face behind my back, you tryna kill me, nigga. Damn. You say you got beef, then what you wanna do? What? You screaming, fuck me, nah, nigga, fuck you. Bitch. You ain't hard at me. Nope. Couple kick dough, couple robbery. Nigga get extorted, get aborted, he don't pay the fee. Posted in the north, got the 2 to 4 recipe. I be cooking chicken bit, not talking rotisserie. I got all my hater man, I know that they sick of me. Who the fuck he think he is, motherfucking MB3? I honestly pay him no attention. They up under me. Haters call me Visa cause I'm everywhere they wanna be. Ladies, man, catch me with more honeys than a bumblebee. Say she got a husband, but she always wanna suck a D. State gang, true sipper, who these niggas wanna be? I've been getting money since a younger. I've been pushing peace, stay strapped. Gotta watch your back when you're in the streets. Friends turn to foes, never know who your enemy. I was in Detroit, he ain't keep the same energy. West side down the slide, I don't think he feeling me. I was on some demon time, nigga talking about killing me. They no business, let's see all that shit that you gon' do to me. Come outside, why you scared? I thought that you been a G. We don't bluff, we pulling up, we different down in Tennessee. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 o'clock. If it really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white square, been serving them on the same block. Timepiece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 o'clock. If it really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white square, been serving them on the same block. Timepiece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. I got an old school bitch, call her Aretha. Shawty so fine, shawty she a keeper. Smoke that reefer, preferred by the quarter. I do this for my kids, my sons and my daughter. Get treated like a king. Hoes call me sire. One look like Lotto, the other look like Maya. My plug, he ain't playing, he only talking the numbers. I cop it, whip it, and ship it. My money coming in bundles. Different flavors of kush, orange, grape, and apple. If a nigga trap me, it's gonna be a disaster. Dope money and bitches, pimp robbers and snitches. It's all in my hood. My homies say that I'm gifted, I really can't complain. Shit's starting to change, a product of my environment. Tell me who can I blame? Neck like a glacier, bought my shawty a bracelet. Money go get her, that's why these niggas be hating. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 o'clock. If it really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white squares, been serving them on the same block. Timepiece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 o'clock. If it really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white squares, been serving them on the same block. Timepiece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 o'clock. If it really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white squares, been serving them on the same block. Timepiece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 o'clock. If it really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white squares, been serving them on the same block. Timepiece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Whole team shining, we stars, big dipper. Get a lot of haystack gang in the city. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Yeah, I feel like being lazy today with doing part 5 of the Diddy trial with y'all. So I ain't reading shit. I'm gonna let DJ Academics read what happened in day 5, and he gonna recap day 4 for y'all. And we ought to be out of here in about an hour. Well, man, yeah, we ought to be out of here in about an hour. His video an hour and 30 minutes long. I got to speed up to 1.3. And yeah, we're just gonna get caught up and get up out of here. Sillies, I was in your live, but I wasn't in your live because I had woke up at like 4 and I shared you. And I remember when it came on, I was in there and all of that good stuff. But I definitely agree with what you said on Truth Live and in yours. She came to shut that nigga up. She saw that goddamn super chat, but she worked quick though. Like I need somebody that watched the first live to let me know, because I know he made a community post talking about he was doing a Q&A. Was his Q&A thumbnail up before he did his first live? Because I remember he did 2 lives. Now, if I don't think she knew about the first live, because again, in that one he was ready to tell all, but then he saw that super chat and shit, and then it ended. I don't even know how it ended. And she got spooked because I had already been in his comment section saying shit. And then if you notice, Silly, she told this man, you don't have to sit on nobody's platform. That was me, because she's the only one that she got a super chat telling motherfuckers to I was trying to holler at him. Plus, I was in there giving them my email and stuff. So, yeah, I agree with you 100%, still. It's exactly what I said. She did that to stop this nigga momentum. Now, I seen Truth had it in her thumbnail that the Fibrissima channel is back up. And I see somebody else emailed it to me. That man would be foolish as fuck if he stopped doing content on his channel to do content on their channel. Bruh, she not going back. It's over with. If y'all do some content on the Fibrissima channel, that needs to be separate from you doing your own content, Mr. Fibrissima. Keep doing what the fuck you doing on your channel. And if y'all gonna do some shit together on the Fibrissima channel, like how y'all did the live stream, I'd say continue doing it. But I would be skeptical because you can't trust her at this point, sir. She in America. You think she gonna give you your money? And now I gotta rethink. Well, you know what? I don't know. He was saying in his face like how she felt. She said in his face, I hadn't talked to you in a long time. She said a lot of shit in his face that he didn't dispute. So what he did start is, you know what? Maybe when he started his channel, he was like, yo, baby, I could take care of you and all of that. And he did say, let me send my money to your channel. He probably did because he still trusted the bitch, which is probably why he also was so mad and said, you deceived me and all of that. I really think she may still have her hand in his pocket. She getting this nigga. If he ain't realized it by now, I don't know what to tell him, but she can, yeah, she doing damage control, but will it really work? Because it's not gonna be too long before she do some dumb shit. You know, she like to show her life, so she gonna fuck around and show that new nigga who dick she sucking, and he gonna have, and Goodwill gonna be between a rock and a hard place, or Goodwill is gonna do something that pisses her off, and we're gonna be right back at square one. But now, Q, I ain't gonna bother him there since he I don't know. He was looking at your ass crazy on a lot of this shit you said. Like, you could have cleared up a whole bunch of shit, but you cleared up. Now he could get you cleared up that he could get his passport, which is not passport, a visa, which is a damn lie. But when the nigga said, what did dust in my pocket meant, she was like, nigga, it's self-explanatory. So she doubled down in his face that he was broke. But that's not why we're here. But yeah, Silas, I was in your live, but I wasn't in it because I had I don't know what time it was when you actually went live, but I had went back to sleep because I had been up since like 4. I went to sleep in the middle of the game. So I guess it was like 8 or 9, and I woke up at 4:45 looking around. I was like, damn, Grayson gone. Ain't nobody bothering me. Let me go back to sleep. Hey, Juicy. All right. Day 5, and Academics, if I'm not mistaken, is going to recap
So
what happened in day 4.
Next speed pause. And here we go. So we're going to kind of like recap the day. We're going to kind of do the same things we did, but we're going to be able to do it much quicker and have much more understanding because all the tweets are already there. So
see, he pulled to me. He said, fuck trying to do this shit live. It take too much time. I'm just going to wait till the day over with and then I'm going to go live. He finally learned on day 5 that I say, fuck it. I'm going to do my stream afterwards.
Here we go.
I have been seeing, though, from a lot that not necessarily Cassie made herself look bad, but the state, the federal government made themselves look bad with the Cassie testimony. It doesn't prove anything with it. And then from what I hear, Cassie ended her testimony by saying, I don't hate Diddy.
And we could get into it immediately, right? So the judge...
Cassie still ain't gonna get no record deals after all of this. She can sing, but ain't nobody tried to hire her. They hadn't brought that up either. That, well, why haven't you signed with any other label and yada, yada, yada? Because I'm sure that 10-album deal can't still be valid.
Judge said initially that the defense cross-examination could go today until 4:30 today, and then they'll limit. So the judge is putting some time constraints on this. Obviously, if you leave it up to the defense, they're going to want to talk to Cassie for a week and a half, right? Because this is the main witness, and they want to drag her. Even if it's certain things that it might be proven the same point, they want to keep hammering that home that the jury could be like, oh, okay, Cassie's just fucking freaky, right? All right, so the judge said, yo, you guys could only cross-examine till 4:30 today, and then she
is just freaky.
30 minutes.
We know some pretty...
He's going to give 30 minutes of redirect.
We're not going to act like we don't know no fine-ass freaky girls. It's a whole bunch of fine-ass hoes in porn. They fine as shit. You wouldn't expect them to be doing this shit, but they do. It just be like that.
And that was going to be, obviously, the AUSA. Combs' lawyer, Anna Maria Estavo, says we have some evidentiary issues. The judge says, tell me about them. They should have been in writing. They said, we don't understand why they're taking time to object to our exhibits. AUSA Johnson says they're proposing to use a video of Combs walking in nature, talking about God. It is improper and invited jury nullification. Judge says, let's hear it. By the way, no one's in the court yet. There's no jury. There's no Cassie. Combs Estavo says, so Combs' lawyer Estavo says, and I guess this is a video that Diddy was like speaking about God. I think TMZ actually put the video out. Let me see if we can find it.
He be going off worse than me sideways instead of just reading the damn tweets.
We did get a revelation,
but I'm being lazy, so fuck it.
$10 million, but she got it from the Intercontinental. So it looked like she was about to sue the Intercontinental for leaking that video, right? And obviously she would be a victim of domestic assault.
So the hotel leaked the video, and she was suing them and got $10 million from them too. Well, damn, she cleaned up.
But then leaking that video severely damages her reputation, and they gave her $10 million. So Cassie's been collecting the back. That's $30 million. So she got her 30 no matter what. Cassie really the 30 for 30. You get what I'm saying? Hold on, let me see. Where we go? There's something where he's like walking in nature. Let me see if I can find that video. Hold on. Let me see.
Man, if you watching this, we need this thing to move.
I don't know if we can find
it. It need to move or something.
The speed up.
We're missing something. Right? We need something else to help catch the eye.
I don't know why it's kind of relevant, but I guess they want to bring it up. The judge says, our juror's ready. Oh, by the way, they says this was about him being in rehab, which Ms. Ventura didn't remember. So we want to refresh her recollection with this. Okay, so it's about a video of him being in rehab.
Wait, she didn't remember being in rehab? Shit, how many times did you go for you not to remember being there?
Did rehab. Let's see. Diddy rehab. Okay. I thought I seen the video. Never mind. If anyone, it was on TMZ. If you guys see it, let me scroll down a bit. If you guys see it, just please let me know, because apparently the full video is out there. And I think it's just a video of him kind of like walking around and whatever. Let's see. Is it here? Yo, this Alex Fine nigga is, he is getting cooked, bro. That nigga's getting cooked right now.
Y'all see Antonio Brown got locked up for shooting at some niggas that tried to steal his chain at a boxing event.
So apparently Diddy went to rehab, and there's a video of him in rehab talking about God and all that type of stuff. AOSA Johnson says it can't be played for her in front of the jury. And Stavo says we have headphones. The judge says, our jury's ready. Any more issues? Stavo says, if the rape is after the charged conduct, it shouldn't have come in. It's a huge issue. Okay? It's a huge issue for us. The judge says it's not a huge issue. You didn't raise it at the time. Combs says, we thought we could cross on it. Now, that's kind of interesting. So it looks like Diddy's lawyers are coming back in post to say the charged conduct that is alleged in the indictment, the rape happens after that time span that y'all claim that she was trafficked. We don't think that should have been brought up. And I don't think actual sexual assault is there. I think sexual assault is one of the predicate.
It's not in there.
For it's one of the predicate offenses for the RICO Act in Diddy's case, but it's not actually charged. So he's not really charged with rape, right? But is it one of the things that's charged under RICO? Yes, it is, right? Which I hope you understand that little nuance. If a RICO Act, you could put mad different things, murder, this and third. Again, the predicate offenses doesn't necessarily have to be in a different thing. I hope that makes sense. Sometimes I'm talking, I'm like, yeah, I don't even get what I just said. Under RICO, he's charged with RICO sex trafficking. I gotta bring up the latest indictment. Let me bring it up, make this a little bit easier for y'all. I'll try to bring up the indictment.
We can't see it, so let me skip forward till he starts reading.
Okay, so it's interesting. It looks like they realized they should have made a fuss about having Cassie testify about this rape, right? They didn't do it, but now they're saying, oh, well, we got to address it in cross, and we need to bring some other things into it because we shouldn't allow y'all to do it. The judge is kind of saying, y'all should have brought this up yesterday or objected to it yesterday. Looked like they did. Okay. All right. So the judge says, no, he was just using the raise at the time, and it says we thought we could do it on cross, and now they're starting. So all rise, good morning. Your slender opens Ventura, and it says, you believe Mr. Combs? So now this is Estavo, Diddy's lawyer, questioning her. Do you believe Mr. Combs was blackout for the intercontinental event? Cassie says, I believe he was intoxicated. Everyone's definition is different. Estavo says, but you said blackout. She then says, what do you write here? She says, I wrote, when you get fucked up the wrong way. Did you mean drugs? That's what Estavo asked. She says, and alcohol. Estavo then says, here, Mr. Combs, write to you. I'm so horny for you. AUSA Johnson says, this ain't an evidence. Again, they keep objecting to these exhibits of text messages that basically, I think it's the 400 that were introduced the day before. Estavo says, here, Mr. Combs is asking you for sex soon after the intercontinental, right? You know what I realized? Chat, you know what I realized? We got to take a step back. I'm sorry. We got to take a step back. We got to take a step back because we're missing a huge piece of this. We're missing a huge piece of this. If you're only watching me to cover this, that means we've missed a few things because we didn't cover the afternoon session yesterday. So if we just start today, we missed half of a day of testimony from Cassie. So we got to get that update and then flush that out, then continue it today. So sorry. Here we go. Yeah, this was the day. Here we go.
Attention, Team Diddy defense. You are losing.
All right, so this is where I missed yesterday, right? So let's start there. So yesterday, they come back at like 2:38. They put Cassie back on the stand. And they're like, yo, listen, your affair, and they're calling it an affair. It's kind of like interesting because Diddy and Cassie were never married. But they're saying your affair with Kid Cudi, which is Mr. Mescudi, was only about a month long, but you got a burner phone for it. She said, right. So apparently she had a separate phone just to deal with Kid Cudi. Estavo then says, did Mr. Combs kick you in the back? She says, yes. Estavo then says, this came up later in your relationship that you had cheated on him with Kid Cudi, right? Ventura says he brought it up quite a bit. So it looked like Diddy realized that she fucked Kid Cudi and would probably constantly bring it up, just throwing in her face like, yo, fuck you fuck Kid Cudi, man. Estavo then says, when he cheated, he said, well, you had an affair with Kid Cudi, right? She says sometimes. So it looks like what would happen is that when Diddy was fucking other women and Cassie would find out.
And this was between freak offs. He was fucking Kid Cudi.
He would just constantly use the fact that she fucked Kid Cudi to kind of like call it even with whatever he was doing by saying, yo, how you getting at me for fucking other bitches? Yo, you fuck Kid Cudi, bro. Stop, right? Probably one of those type of stuff. Estavo was like, yo, he suspected you of having an affair with another person in the industry. You were in South Africa filming, right? She says, yes, I was filming Honey 3. By the way, it's interesting. Cassie seemed like she's kind of jovial. She's laughing and shit like that. Okay. Estavo says, when you were there, did you see a photo of Mr. Combs and Gina and got irate? She says, yes, I was angry. Estavo says, you blocked him and focused on the movie, right? She says, I tried my best. Estavo says, Mr. Combs suspected you of having a relationship with who? She said, Michael B. Jordan. Now, let's look at Honey. Honey 3, it's a movie. I guess this is Cassie, right? Who else is in? Is Michael B. Jordan in the movie? He's not in the movie, right? No, he's not. Maybe she was just in the acting world and Diddy thought she was fucking Michael B. Jordan. Whatever. Okay, cool. Estavo then says, you sent a video to not only Mr. Combs, but also staff of who? D-Rock? She says, yes, you sent it to them because you was angry with all of them. She says, I was hurt. I spent all my time with them. Estavo says, you thought they were in on it. Estavo says, yes, the physical abuse. No. Well, Estavo says, the physical abuse, when did your father learn about it? She says, around the same time my mother learned about it. Estavo says, did Mr. Combs come to Connecticut to speak to your parents? Ventura says, I don't know if it was then. Estavo says, Kerry Morgan knew about the abuse? She says, yes. They then ask, the eyebrow gash incident, what was it about? Cassie says, I didn't answer the phone and I went to sleep. I was supposed to be packing for a trip. Estavo says, was he drunk? She says, I don't remember. Estavo says, why were you asleep? Ventura says, a drink at the Abbey had something in it, I think. So she's actually thinking that she got drugged at the Abbey. Estavo says, did Mr. Combs ever abuse you when he was drunk? Then say he didn't remember it. Ventura admits it. She says, yes. So she's now asserting that Diddy has used the excuse of, oh shit, I don't remember me doing that to you. Again, this is Diddy's lawyers trying to paint the picture that Diddy was under the influence, and this wasn't some premeditated, like, planned out, like, hey, I'm going to just beat your ass or intimidate you. This was a guy with a temper and going through mood swings because if he was ever withdrawing or coming up or going up or coming down from these drugs. So did Mr. Combs ever abuse you while he was inebriated? Then say to remember. Ventura says, yes. Estavo says, did he ever feel like did you ever feel like he was not taking responsibility? Ventura says, yes. Estavo then says, for drugs, you both went to rehab, right? She says, rehab wasn't really a thing during that relationship. Estavo says, what's the freak-offs? The freak-offs were an opportunity for y'all to take drugs together, right? She says, yes. Estavo then says, you went a lot to Burning Man? She says, yes. Estavo then says, did you ever call yourself getting high partners or get high partners? She said, we did. So it looked like she used to refer to her and Diddy, or Diddy was my get high partner. That's what Cassie would say. Now, again, this is painting the picture that Diddy was a drug addict and would constantly do drugs and wasn't in the right frame of mind. What does that right frame of mind mean? Or why is that important? Because it shows that he probably didn't have his wherewithal to actually deliberately be participating in a sex trafficking ring, okay? Or leading it, or doing all these things that would constitute as sex trafficking in a racketeering sense, okay? Estavo said, did you take drugs from him without him knowing? She says, yes. Estavo says, what was his reaction? Cassie says, explosive. Estavo says, did he tell LA dealers not to deal to you? She says, yes. So it looks like Cassie would be trying to steal the drugs from Diddy. And Diddy would basically be telling drug dealers or whoever his supplier was, yo, do not sell no drugs to Cassie. By the way, 2 Tycoon 6, thank you for the gifted membership. Appreciate you, my brother. Combs Estavo says, this is Combs' lawyer, Estavo. She says, you told Karam, which is Christina Karam, that you learned only after the fact that Mr. Combs had dangled Miss Bongalon. Who's Miss Bongalon? Off the balcony. She says, I'm not sure. So now Cassie is doing the out of recall shit. Estavo says, were you on drugs? She says, I'm not sure. Combs Estavo, which is Diddy's lawyer, says, you got a life coach for your drug use, according to this document. She says, I don't know who that person is. Estavo then says, weren't you doing a lot of drugs? She says, it was a rough time. Diddy's lawyer then says, you tried to get into rehab, the golden rule, right? She says, it was a spa. There was a time I lost all sense of smell and taste and woke up in the hospital with the IV in my arm. I then tried to get help. Diddy's lawyer says, the time after San Bernardino, you learned he had overdosed. She says, a very strong opiate, yeah. Combs' lawyer says, were you ever not addicted to painkillers? She says, we took ibogaine. What the fuck is that? Let me Google that shit, chat. Ibogaine. It's a psychoactive alkaloid extracted from the bark and roots of the Tabernith iboga plant. It's native to the Central and West Africa. It's been used for centuries in traditional African medicine to treat various ailments, including addiction, anxiety, and depression. Okay. And it could be used as a psychedelic, clearly. All right. They asked, where did you get it? She said, Cancun, Mexico, separately. Estavo then says, when Mr. Combs threw you off the boat in Cairns, when he accused you of taking drugs and squeezed your leg, Ventura says, among other things, Estavo says, but you still wanted to be with him, right? Cassie says, yeah, I still want to be with him. Estavo says, switching topics. When you say Mr. Combs went and got his guns to find Suge Knight, did you remember telling the government that if you went with him? She said, no. Estavo says, let me show you. AUSA says, hey, just for the party. So it looked like they're showing maybe a debriefing session or a interrogation session between Cassie and the government. This is like probably a pre-cooperation thing where they probably got her to put on an affidavit A, B, C, D, and E that later on when she testifies, they know what she gonna say, right? So it looked like her story changed and they noticed it. She claimed when she did the debriefing with the government that she went with Diddy with the guns to go find Suge Knight. Now we're finding out, no, she didn't. Ventura says, I didn't go with them. So I don't think I said that. Combs Estavo says, you did drugs with Miss Morgan, right? She said, yes, Miss Morgan would be Carrie Morgan. That was her best friend. Estavo says, do you recall telling the government that you did not set what he did? Huh? I think you don't, wait. Did you recall telling the government you did not remember what he did? Hitting her in the head with a wooden hanger? I don't know what that, it's a weird question or a weird statement. All right. He says, I saw the hanger. I saw he was angry that I was doing drugs with Carrie. This broke up your 7-year friendship with her, right? That's what Diddy's lawyer says. She says it did. Estavo says, did you tell Combs about your relationship with your now husband? She said no. So basically, she's admitting that when she was fucking on the trainer, Diddy never knew. Estavo says, Mrs. Morgan sued you and Mr. Combs. Ventura says, yes, she made a demand. Estavo says, and you paid part of that? Cassie said, I did. Estavo says, and you haven't spoken with her since? Ventura says, maybe one text. Estavo says, that was the relationship ender. She said, yes. So basically, Diddy gets upset that Cassie's doing drugs. It looked like Diddy always wanted Cassie to do drugs with him. They were drug partners, like they were get high partners, as he called it. And it appears that when Diddy found that she was doing drugs with her best friend, Diddy got mad, threw a wooden hanger, and hit the friend. And the friend stopped being
a wooden hanger.
She looked at it like Cassie wasn't standing up for her and wasn't standing up to Diddy. So she then later sued or threatened to sue, and I guess there was either a settlement, I would imagine a settlement, and part of the settlement was paid by Cassie. I guess the rest by Diddy. Okay. Estavo says, you'd heat up the baby oil, wouldn't you? Ventura says, yes. Estavo says, now, is this the day before the Intercontinental Hotel incident? I guess they want to be shown an image or something. AUSA Johnson says, hey, hold up. It's a long document, me to read, all right? They took a break, all right? After they took a break, they come back at 4:08. He says, we're in the
recapping day 4. I read this already.
It's from March 4. AUSA says, with UCT time, it's March 3rd, actually. Estavo says, okay, Mr. Combs refers to accessories. Cassie says, for the premiere. So it looked like they're showing her something of her being at some movie premiere, right?
Honey,
Estavo says, hey, did you send him an explicit message? Cassie says, yes. Estavo says, he responded with a number of M's, right? He wrote, too bad you have to work, LOL. Cassie says yes. So Cassie's kind of showing that her and Diddy was texting. She had to go to a premiere, but her and Diddy are flirting, talking about still fucking. You get what I'm saying? Now, this is going to be interesting. Hold on. It says this was the day before the incident. Okay. When was the incident? When was the Intercontinental Hotel incident, Cassie? That incident was the 5th. Okay, so before, it looks like they're establishing that Cassie and Diddy were talking freely. Cool. He wrote, too bad you have to work. He did. He said, you asked him, are you feeling better? Then he's discussing bodily functions. Yes. Cassie says, could we just clarify what time these messages are really from with the UCT? That's Central Time, right? No. What's UCT?
Universal Time something.
Time. I think it's Universal Time. Oh, Universal Time. That's what it is. Okay. And then what is this? Cool. Okay, here we go. Okay, so they're supposed to. They've clarified that it's not UCT, it's UTC. It's Universal. What does it stand for? Coordinated Universal Time, whatever. So Coordinated Universal Time, or UTC, is 5 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time, right? And it is 8 hours ahead of Pacific Standard Time. So that's very important. So if you're going on what time would be in LA, you have to add 8 hours to it, right? So that's why they're saying A bleeds into the next day. That's why they're saying that. Estavo says, Mr. Combs went to your premiere lunch at London Hotel, right? Ventura says he did. Estavo says, then he says, I got out of a spiritual therapy session. Ventura said, I asked, how did it go? He said it's a process. They're kind of reading off text messages here, people. This is leading up to the hotel incident. Estavo says, you say, baby, I want to freak off so bad. Shit. So Cassie is bringing this up. So Estavo says, you say, baby, I want to freak off so bad. You were asked in your direct and said you didn't want him to ruin your premiere. Cassie says, sure. Now, this is where you start to realize they're taking that ice pick to the ice and they're kind of like chipping away at it. Her answers it's always like, yeah, if that's what it says, or sure. It's like she's like topping it a bit rather than being confident, like, yes, as I've always said, you know? Estavo says, Mr. Combs says, if we start at 7 and go till 4, you could get enough rest after. Holy shit. How many hours is that? That's a 9-hour freak off?
Man, long enough.
Yo, planning a 9-hour fuck session is crazy, bro. Scheduling the fuck session is crazy. Nigga, starting at 7 and wanting to finish at 4 is crazy. Wow. Estavo says, by the way, everybody good? Everybody good? Just gotta make sure y'all good in here, man. Okay. Estavo says he's saying it'll be shorter than the usual freak off, right? Ventura says that's how I would understand it. Estavo says, what did you say? Ventura, Cassie says, Carrie is here. We can't do it at my house. So it looked like at this point, the freak offs has gotten so much, you know.
The freak off taking place.
They're not only doing it in hotels. Cassie's even down to do it at the crib. Estavo says, you say that guy is sick. I'm not going to ask you what you meant. Oh, look like somebody might be burning, Jack. Estavo then says, so you were turning to Johnny. Was he a dancer or an escort? Cassie says, we hired him as a dancer. Chat, I think what's happening here, a bunch of these niggas were getting, they were getting a bunch of, they were getting some diseases, bro. You could tell. I think for sensitivity, they're not saying all that shit. Honestly, like, bro, niggas is burning up in this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were freaking off, and it was like, the freak off was like Uno for STDs. Draw 4. You get what I'm saying? All type of shit was going on in the motherfucking freak offs, right? So here we go. It says, okay, so they were going to another guy. It says,
I'm sure it wasn't 9 hours straight. It was breaks in between, but they still was in them at 9 hours. They probably did 4-5 rounds. And then, in between some of the rounds she was having with the escorts, Diddy wanted the man come scooped on his nipples. So, yeah, it was a lot taking place in them 8 hours.
Was he a dancer or an escort? Cassie says we hired him as a dancer, but he did what an escort does. Estavo says, do you remember the beginning of this freak off in the Intercontinental Hotel? Cassie says, not really.
Sober people would go to sleep after a couple rounds, though. Not these niggas. They was full of drugs. See, that's why they was able to keep it up and keep going all them damn hours, because they was high in a bitch. You can't do that shit sober. Now, I've had some ecstasy-filled nights. I will not deny this. But they on another level. Even, like, I'm just saying, the way the men penis is set up is skin. Skin can't go in and out of nothing for no goddamn 8 hours without some chafing or some burning or something going on. It's just human nature. I'm sorry. The friction alone will start hurting the nigga. It just see his hair. After about the third nut, it be hurting. I'm just saying, they was full of them good drugs. More power to them. But now just keep in mind though, in between these freak offs, between her freak offs with the escorts and her fucking Diddy, she was fucking Kid Cudi, and then she had her trainer that she was fucking that Diddy didn't know about. Then it could have been a couple more niggas in between. She cast it like dick. Ain't nothing wrong with it, but like she like dick.
By the way, this is very interesting. Like, she had shaky memory. All right, whatever. So Estavo says, the drugs were bad. MDMA, right? Cassie says, I have no idea. Estavo says, no, the judge says at 5 o'clock, jurors may go home. Don't look up anything about the case, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. Then I think they're trying to do some procedural shit. So they dismissed for the day yesterday. Says, thank you, Ms. Ventura. No discussion with the government. We'll see you tomorrow. Everybody has to be seated. Judge says, how much more? So he's trying to ask Diddy's lawyer, how much more? And she says, let me check. AUSA Johnson says, half an hour on redirect.
He probably did.
They're asking for time.
I ain't saying. She said IVs and all types of shit injected in them. They did the best. Like, so he probably did have defibrillators and doctors on dick. Morning, E. Brooks, or afternoon.
And the fielder says, we'll figure it out tomorrow. The judge says, have your next witness ready tomorrow. Who are they? AUSA says, Dawn Richard. The judge says, if there are more issues, someone needs to email the court. Okay? They're adjourned. All right, so cool. Now we're done with yesterday. I think in the afternoon, nothing too crazy other than the whole Kid Cudi thing. That's probably the only thing that came out. And also the fact that when she started cheating on Diddy, Diddy didn't know, right? We didn't really find nothing too crazy out. But we do kind of find out that the intercontinental freak-off was Cassie's idea. Cassie literally says, I want to freak off so bad. Look, you say, baby, I want to freak off so bad.
Diddy was minding his own business.
When she was asked about this in her direct,
Diddy had just came out of spiritual retreat, and she trying to she threw this man off his ding. Talking about some, you want to do a freak off?
She made it seem.
I'm just saying though. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm weird, but my freak offs would have involved Cassie and a whole bunch of bitches and me fucking all of them. That's what my freak offs would have been. I'm sorry. My idea of a freak off is not watching somebody else fuck my gal. That don't do it for me. I'm sorry. It don't move the needle. It don't turn me on or none of this shit. In fact, I would probably want to hit both of their ass over the head with a bottle. But you know, to each his own. But that's my freak outs would have been like 10 bitches in the room. That's what my freak outs. If I'd have been on trial for this, it would have been going a whole nother way. I'm just saying.
They gave him a freak off that he didn't ruin my premiere. I needed. She was describing Diddy as some monster that you had to make happy that he wouldn't ruin your life or he wouldn't ruin.
I'd say. Cassie was the third witness. I've been saying all along, they have not done a good job of saying that Diddy sex trafficked or did anything, kidnapped, because kidnapping is one of the things, like he held them against their will and he used his power and force. None of these people have said that he forced them to do anything. Hell, a lot of them are saying that Cassie was the one that booked the shit and all of that. And we see Cassie saying she asked for the freak offs, Cassie having conversations back and forth with the escorts, all of this shit. So, yeah, they're not doing a good job of proving their case. Maybe some other witnesses will give some damning testimony, but I don't see any of the shit that they've been charging, especially the sex trafficking. That would fall more on Cassie. Diddy was just a participant. Cassie was the one buying dick. Diddy didn't fuck none of them men. He didn't. He didn't have sex with none of them men. No interaction and none of that. It was all Cassie.
Any opportunities that you had. But we're seeing it might be the opposite. Looked like she wanted to do the freak off, and he would try to figure out, okay, let's figure out where you could go to your premiere, get enough sleep for that, and we could still get at least, you know what I mean? They're calling 9-hour freak off. Jesus Christ.
If I did a work shift worth of fucking.
Y'all used to tip the people in the hotels who had to clean up after freak offs, bro. It gotta be mad disgusting. Astroglide, lube, baby oil, butt plugs, fecal matter, pee, like all type of shit, period blood, like semen crust after it's dried up, probably flaked off Diddy's nipples. Like, this shit was nasty. Right. So now we're back to today, right? We're back to today, and we're going over the entire day today, right? So cool. Cassie had
that man just got graphic.
Go through some more issues, blah blah blah. Now they put Cassie on the stand, right? They asked him, "Do you think he was blacked out during the Intercontinental event?" She said, "I believe he was intoxicated." Right? But everyone's definition is different. So she says, "I don't know if he was blacked out, but I know he was like."
They did have STDs.
So said, well, what did you write here? I said, "When you get fucked up." So
all of them had
STDs. With some of her text messages where she's admitting that she told Diddy, "When you get fucked up, you act crazy," right? And they said, "Do you mean drugs?" She says, "And alcohol." Says, "Here, Mr. Combs, right to you. I'm so horny for you." Ava says it's not evidence. And they says, "Here, Mr. Combs is asking you for sex." Soon after the Intercontinental incident, Cassie says, I was saying who he felt. Huh? Or was she saying, I was saying what he felt? Anyway. Estava says, what did you write back? She said, I wrote, we need a different vibe than Friday at the Intercontinental Hotel. So it looked like after the Intercontinental Hotel where he beats her ass, right? Remember, this idea of this hotel footage is that she was trying to escape. She was trying to get out of there. This was like her last shit. This was like Toby running away from the plantation. You get what I'm saying? If you're trying to run away from the freak off there, you're not coming back to do it again, right? It looks like they get cool, and then they basically say, yo, it looks like it's within the same week because they mentioned the date, right? You would mention the date if it's not the same week. Ventura, Cassie says, we need a different vibe than what happened Friday at Intercontinental. What does that say, Chad?
Man, that's what I say about. He couldn't have knew all these details.
Off again. She just wanted a different vibe. Shit. Oh, shit. Yeah. It's good. They got more stream. You on stream? Yeah, you want me to interrupt him?
Yeah. Hit me after. If I don't get to call you, happy birthday, you heard?
I appreciate you, Marcy. Appreciate you, man.
What's that, 6ix9ine? Yep, 6ix9ine called into his stream.
Yeah, the shit was lit, nigga.
Damn, bro, my bad. Fucking, I got the probation shit.
I know.
If anything, call me after the stream.
Yeah, I'm gonna call you after the stream. All right, cool. Shout out to my man 6ix9ine. W to 6ix9ine. Shout out to my man. Okay, somebody said happy birthday. You heard? That's such a New York thing. You heard? All right, come on. Let's lock in, chat. All right, so look like within the same week, Diddy's asking her for sex. By the way, let me also put this into perspective for everybody who's kind of watching. And I want to hear you guys' opinion. I'm gonna look in the chat, see what you guys think about this. Think about this, chat. It appears that, and tell me if you think it helps or hurts Diddy. It feels like most of their communications were done in email and text. So you would see Diddy ask for sex, like, yo, let's
You would see her ask for it too.
Rather than get on the phone and there might not be a record of it. So they have all these text messages. And these text messages kind of show step by step what their conversation is like. I think it helps.
Diddy hired her husband. I don't know if she fucked him after she got with her husband or not, but I know that Diddy hired her as her personal trainer, and that's who she ended up marrying and having the kids with. After all, I don't know if the freak offs was still going on when he was personal trainer and all of that, but that's another dick that she had in the relationship. If so.
The more text messages that exist shows that, hey, all right, after the fight, they're still communicating, they're still talking freaky. If you don't have these messages, like say they are still talking freaky, but it's only phone calls, it's he said, she said. She gonna be like, yeah, I don't remember talking freaky with him after that. But you have it here in text messages. We got it in 4K. So I do believe that these messages are helping Diddy because I don't think she would testify. Oh yeah, no, we were just playing. Like yeah, I kind of forgave him mad quickly for that, and then we were playing another freak off. We were just like, yeah, let's get a different vibe. So I think these messages are helping Diddy. It shows freak off happens, the fighting happens. A couple days later, within the same week, they're trying to, yo, let's go figure this out. Let's go do this again, but get a different vibe. All right, cool. So Ventura says that she wanted a different vibe than Friday at the Intercontinental.
Man, in different dreams.
Fuck Friday. I don't even want to do that again. And then they say, what did you write? Cassie says, LOL, true. I'm wondering if are they trying some crazy shit like, yo, Cassie, while the nigga in your pussy, let me put my dick in your ass. Like, they must be doing some other shit. I don't know what's going on right here. He says, I don't even want to do that again. Are they talking about just the violence? The fighting?
Maybe that was
they're also this idea that
maybe Friday in the what we saw was role playing. Maybe it was role playing. We've known them to be in some strange shit, but we're seeing them text after that. She want to do a freak off, and she's saying, I just want a different vibe. And he's saying, fuck Friday, I don't want to do that again. Maybe that was the role they was playing where she was supposed to be trying to run and he was supposed to, I don't know. The text messages leave a lot of room for interpretation.
Went to his phone or blah, 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 blah. They're not also addressing the issue, right? It looks like they just got over it. Like they just chalked it up to, that's some drunk shit. Yeah, that's some drunk shit, right? It said, fuck Friday, I don't want to do that again. So what'd you write? Say, I wrote, LOL, true. Gustavo says, Mr. Combs suspected you of having an affair with someone else in the industry. What happened when he took your phone? Ventura says, we were in the car and he told me to call my mother. When I did, he grabbed my phone and took it. It was a big fight. He was just gone. For how long? It says, for a few hours until my mother called the police. Gustavo says, did Mr. Combs go through your phone? She says, I think so. And he called someone on it. Gustavo says, the person you had an affair with was an NFL player, right? She says, I don't know if he played anymore. And Gustavo says, but it was an NFL player though, right? And he was jealous. Gustavo says, wasn't there a time?
Okay, so we had an NFL deal.
Person in the music industry, and he took your phone. She says, I don't remember. Gustavo says, come on, you know it was Chris Brown. Stop it. She says, I wasn't dancing with him. Gustavo says, all right, check this out. Look at this. It's from 2013. She says, ooh, okay, you got me. You got me. Now I see it. Yeah, you're right. So again, maybe her memory is failing her, or maybe this goes into the idea that she was completely in a drugged out state and her memory is really inconsistent. Regardless, I still think this helps Diddy because the more you prove that she is inconsistent with her recollection of what happened.
Boss mentality. She just got paid $30-some million for the freaky shit she did. She at least 30 million. Diddy gave her 20, I think. And the Intercontinental gave her 10. And then she may have movie rights and shit of that nature. He'll be all right. He already put 3 babies in her. Hell, I'm sure he heard when she was writing the book, I'm sure he started finding out, because if she ever actually published it, then he would know. So I'm sure she told him about it. And so, yeah. He in too deep.
You could then keep further hammering home the point that these fine details of quote-unquote abuse or this control.
He been eating that pussy for 8 years.
Very small but nuanced things that played a part into this control, sex trafficking narrative that Diddy has. She might not remember that either, or she might be remembering it incorrectly. Okay? She says, what else did Mr. Combs take? Says, he took my car, my passport when he was angry. Gustavo says, let's refresh you about Mr. Combs being in rehab. She says, I vaguely remember. That's interesting. Cassie can't remember shit now. She vaguely remembered. Combs says, Gustavo says, why did you go to Sedona? Ventura says, I went to Arizona to get away from the drugs. Gustavo says, I'm going to go to a new topic. Mr. Combs told you to get the video you heard about. What did you write? I wrote, you keep putting me down. Gustavo says, I'm going to play you some audio. Ventura says, this is the audio said, yo, if you saw a video of someone fucking me, who was fucking me? You have it? Why didn't you show me? Because I'm not disrespectful.
Also, she kept saying that Diddy kept videos and said he would release them to embarrass her, but none of these escorts was signing NDAs. If niggas wanted to go out and say I was fucking Cassie, they could have. Y'all got comfortable with him after a while.
So it didn't have the whole shit over your head.
Bro. And Cassie says, oh, yeah, Cassie says, if you don't show me, I will kill you, cut you up. Oh, shit. The audio is still being played. Ventura says, I will fucking kill you. Never killed no one ever in my life. I'm going to fuck you up, and it's not going to be blood on my hands. Somebody else is going to kill you. I'm not playing with you, Sujit. Tell me. Combs, Estavo, so Combs' lawyer says, that's you, right? She said, yeah. Estavo says, did Mr. Combs express concern about
this
videos
day
being
5 testimony here.
Videos.
I was about to say, I don't remember reading this in day 4. Damn, Cassie said, I'm gonna hire somebody to kill you. Shit.
And she was calling around and trying to figure out how they got the video and basically threatening these people. He said, does Mr. Combs express concern about these videos being released? Ventura says, when? Estavo says, ever. Cassie says, yes. Estavo says, the escort Jonathan, you thought he took a video? Remember, they part of the settlement, the $5 million the dude claimed he got. He said he got the video to sign an NDA that he can't talk about him contracting herpes from them, allegedly.
Now that Jonathan guy is the one that I think had got arrested for doing something at the Trump properties. Then he was sitting in there talking about the Illuminati and he was a sex slave for Cassie and him, and everybody thought he was crazy until they found the NDA the other day. And his wife was saying that they were married and they were going through a divorce, and for some reason he kept trying to expedite the divorce. And then shortly after he got the divorce, he had spent like $750,000 in new properties and stuff. So they're saying they believe he got the $5 million settlement from Diddy. She can't prove it. But during the divorce that they were having, when he was trying to expedite it, he said his net worth was negative $1,800. But then he was able to buy some $750,000 worth of properties shortly after the divorce.
Can't sue them civilly for contracting this disease. And also he had to turn over videotapes. He had to turn it over. And remember, he even claimed they accidentally returned him the videotapes. So Ventura says, yes. It says, Mr. Combs spent a lot of money to make sure that video didn't get released, right? She says, I don't know. Estavo says, you had a conversation with Jonathan Odie that was transcribed. Ventura says, I'm not sure. Estavo says, he was volatile, right? She said, yeah, I didn't trust him. Estavo says, what did Mr. Combs say when you told him you thought Odie was recorded? Ventura says, he said he'll take care of it. Estavo says, are you aware of an escort leaving comments on Mr. Combs' Instagram page? Ventura says, I am not. Okay? Estavo says, now let's talk about rehab. Do you still do Suboxone? What is that?
Suboxone. It's an opioid blocker. It's what they give you to keep from going through opioid withdrawals. But you can get addicted to that too.
It's a medication to treat the dependence on opioids. Okay, so it's something to help cure addiction for opioids. Cool. So she said something like that. Gustavo says, what does it treat? She says opioid addiction. AUSA says objection. They say overruled. Gustavo says you wrote a book in rehab. The place treats sexual compulsion. Oh, shit. So it looks like Cassie
is a freak. Cassie went to where Tiger Woods went. She went to sex rehab.
Cassie went to rehab, but it wasn't only for opioids. She went to rehab
for sex addiction,
for freakiness. She was getting sexual compulsion treated. AUSA says objection. They do a sidebar. They come back.
The jury heard it too late.
Feedback therapy? Neurofeedback therapy. What's that?
Probably shocking her brain.
Neurofeedback therapy is a form of biofeedback that utilizes electroencephalography.
I ain't knew it, but I knew it.
Electroencephalography. Okay, I'm still
shocking the brain.
A little bit horrible. Anyway, EEG, to measure the brainwave activity and provide real-time feedback on individuals, helping them learn to consciously regulate their brainwaves. This therapy can be used to treat conditions including ADHD, anxiety, depression, and PTSD, as well as insomnia, learning disabilities, and addiction. Wow.
And she's supposed to
So
be
it looked
that
she was
star
getting some
witness.
brain type of therapy, maybe to treat her nymphomaniac desires. Like, looked like she was a freak. Like, she couldn't control it. Like, she just loved to fuck.
Freaky ass
She said
nigga.
yes.
She a
They said, what is
69
it? They said, well,
God.
they hook something up to your head and they show you things and they see how you react. Were you told the effects of it? She says, to help with my trauma. Estevos says, or Gustavo says, did you participate in EMDR? She says, yes. What does he do? Memories and processing them. The idea, and this is Gustavo saying, the idea is you recall prior traumatic memories like PTSD. Were you treated for PTSD? She said, yes. Ventura says, I was still physically developing. Gustavo says, you were 22. Cassie says, women keep developing after 22. You don't think? Oh, by the way, this is why it's key to have a woman lawyer. This conversation could only happen between two women. If it was a man having a conversation with Cassie here, where Cassie says, it was a man.
Y'all mature faster and smarter, but she was still developing at 22.
Past 22, you're not going to believe the male attorney, right? You're just going to be like, bro, how are you going to tell a woman?
And also, she wasn't a virgin when she met Diddy. She just had never sucked dick or oral sex, which meant she couldn't. I don't know. When she said she wasn't, he introduced oral sex to her. I don't know if that meant him eating her pussy, her sucking dick, but she definitely wasn't a virgin. But she wanted to point out that she ain't know nothing about oral sex when he met her at 21, or when they started having sex when she was 21, 22.
Right. But if it's two women, it plays well. They just have a disagreement about it, right? Gustavo says, you're not suggesting you were still physically developing after 22. She says, I'm not. Gustavo says, the message is about having a freak off with ketamine, right? AUSA Johnson says, hey, can I confer with counsel? Ooh, so the message is about having a freak off without ketamine. Ooh. So it looked like Diddy wanted her to stop doing ketamine, right? The judge says, no, but we'll take a break. The jury leaves. More is coming. With the jury out, the judge says, I need a witness list by Sunday, 5 p.m. But this will, and other files are clearly, whatever. Now here they go on a real break. They're back. Gustavo says, Mr. Combs wrote, you're so predictable. You said you were going to tell him you didn't want to do freak offs anymore, but you didn't say it, did you? She said, I did not. Gustavo says, here you're suggesting freaking off with a girl. Gustavo says, you said you found a photo of Combs with Gina while you were staying with your parents in Connecticut, right? She says, yes. So now Gina Hill comes in. Gustavo says you decided to break up with him, and he didn't threaten you, but he suggested couples counseling. She says, I don't know. Pretty much says, I don't remember. Gustavo says, so by the way, this is another development. Looked like Cassie was starting to suggest, hey, let's bring another girl in this. Now, keep in mind, we don't know if bringing the other girl would be for Diddy, because it appears that Diddy were cool with only men, right? Like Diddy wanted men. But she looked like, and by the way, what this helps establish is that she was a freaky fraud. She wanted to keep remixing. You know how they said Diddy invented a remix? Well, she wanted to remix the freak off. Okay, all right, there's too many dicks, too many niggas. Let's bring a girl up here. Let's remix the freak off real quick. You know
Ain't it though, nigga?
And I guess she finds that, and by the way, here's the thing. Oh, this work, it could be because of this reason too. She's now finding out Diddy has other bitches. And when she finds out Diddy has other bitches, to try to compete, she's telling Diddy, yo, why don't we just bring some of these girls in? Again, sometimes a woman will want to keep her spot as number one by, as long as she feels like she's a leader, bring another girl in. So maybe that's what was her thought. We don't know. All right, so she finds a picture of Diddy with Gina, breaks up with him, and they make it a point to say, Diddy never threatened you after you broke up, right? He's a suggested couples counseling. She says, I don't know. Gustavo then says, in August 2018, you called it closure conversation. Mr. Combs was inviting you to Burning Man, right? Ventura says, yes. Gustavo says, I'll read Mr. Combs. I'll read for Mr. Combs. Mr. Combs says, you have anger. Ventura says, I wrote, my family knows I'm not running around telling our business. Ventura then says, I wrote, I don't need you to be taking care of Kim and Gina. I needed you to put me first. So it looks like her jealousy was starting to rise. She was looking at Diddy and saying, you're taking care of two other women, and I don't feel like you're putting me first. It's kind of like this idea that they have a swinger lifestyle, which that's Diddy's defense. It seems like it's kind of ringing true because Cassie's almost, again, swinger lifestyle doesn't mean necessarily cheating, but it looks like they're kind of showing that Cassie knew that Diddy had other women. And Cassie was just trying to fight and do more things to try to be number one, right? You hear what she says. I don't need you to be taking care of both Kim Porter and Gina. I just need you to put me first. Gustavo says, well, please read these. Ventura says, I wrote, you lied to me. She never went away. It was a nail in the coffin. Gustavo says, you mean Gina, the photo? She says, yes. So basically she's saying that, I guess Diddy was just like, yo, I don't fuck with her no more. And that's not true. Okay, let's keep it going, Chad. Gustavo then says, in your civil lawsuit, you said Mr. Combs raped you in September 2018, right? After you had dinner at an Italian restaurant in Malibu, right? She said, yes. Gustavo says, did you meet with the U.S. on November 30th? So did you meet with the feds November 30th, 2023? She says, yes, not the exact date, but yeah, I did it with the government. Gustavo says, in this meeting, you said the rape took place after Mr. Combs returned from Burning Man. You said he was acting strangely at the dinner. Ventura says, I don't remember exactly that word. Gustavo says, did you meet the U.S. on April 8th, 2025? She says, around then. So I guess this was their meeting pre-trial. It says, the message to FB. Who's that? Ventura says, Frank Black, a name he used. Remember, Diddy's fake name was Frank Black. Her name was Jackie Starr. Gustavo says, he wrote, I'm in an investor conference. We'll get back to this. Do you still have love for him? Ventura says, I have love for the past and what it was. So she hasn't ruled out that she still has love for Diddy, despite her testifying, which, by the way, goes into my theory here, chat. I done told y'all, Cassie definitely wanted the money. But Cassie, I don't think Cassie want to send this nigga to jail. I think the husband want to send this nigga to jail. I keep telling y'all, that nigga want to see Diddy dead or in jail for life. That's the only way you
she
can
still love that nigga.
That, you know,
and she says she not mad at
as
him.
a man, hearing these things about your girl, you want that nigga to be dead. You know what I mean? You could kind of get over it a little bit better if you're like, oh yeah, that nigga who did it dead. You know what I mean? So another sidebar. Gustavo comes back and says, yo, you wrote, I didn't mean to be a bitch. I just don't get the time. He writes, just needed you to be positive, correct? She said, yes. Gustavo says, DS 1309. He says, is this about a yoga instructor? She said, yo. Gustavo said, what'd you write? Ventura says, I stopped even caring. Gustavo says, but you did care. She said, yeah. Gustavo says, so he said, you could date other people. Let's just talk about it, correct? Ventura says, yes. So it looks like they're showing that Diddy was down to let her go. Diddy was telling her, you could date other people. It's okay. Remember, they went to this Burning Man to have a closure. It's almost like a closure trip. But they could continue to have this closing, closure type of energy in messages. And Diddy was just saying, I guess Cassie's saying, I've stopped caring. I'm done with this. I stopped caring. But then they're asking her, they said, did you stop caring? She's now saying, no, I still care. Right? I still care. They said, so when Diddy said you could date other people, he said that, right? He said, correct. I said, what did you write? He said, Cassie then wrote, I do love you. I would just prefer not being one of your bitches or your girlfriends. Let's get up tomorrow night. I'll do studio from 6 to 9. So basically, when Diddy basically says to Cassie, because I guess Cassie is saying, you have multiple girlfriends. I don't want to be one of the multiple girlfriends. Diddy says to her, well, you could have multiple boyfriends, or you could have other guys. You could date other people. And Diddy says the only thing he said, let's just talk about it. So Diddy looked like he was down for her to do stuff with other people. She was saying, and I guess she was like playing chicken because she was acting. Remember, she was like, yeah, I'll stop caring. But she cared, right? So now she's like, I love you, but I would just prefer not being one of your girlfriends, okay? Gustavo then says, he writes, can I hold you, or are you going to just break up with me? Gustavo says, and you write back, we can embrace. And then they ask Cassie, you wanted to hug, right? Cassie says, that's what I said. Gustavo says, did you have sexual intercourse with Mr. Combs that night? She said, I did. Gustavo says, and during that, your now husband FaceTimed you. So while Diddy is putting, he's digging her down type shit, her current husband FaceTimes her during the fuck session, okay? Gustavo says, your now husband didn't know you were with Mr. Combs at the time. Cassie says, I don't know what he knew. So basically, it looked like what happened, and what they're also establishing is that Cassie is a habitual liar, a drug addict, and a nympho. All of these things have been painted really well today and yesterday. They're saying, you got to remember, her now husband is Alex Fine. He is the guy who was a trainer that Diddy hired. So he knew at some point Diddy was with her, but clearly they're trying to establish your new boyfriend told you broke up with Diddy, right? That's what they're trying to say. They say your now husband didn't know you were with Diddy at the time, right? They said, oh, I don't know what he knew. They said, well, later he discovered it, right? Now the AUSA realized this seems more gossipy to kind of hurt the feelings of the husband and kind of calls like where are you going with this? Objection. The judge actually overrules it. Gustavo says, you don't Or you didn't tell your husband you were raped? Okay, so I guess they're saying you spoke with your husband or the guy you eventually married later and said, why didn't you tell me you were raped? She said, not that evening. Estavo says after Miss Porter's memorial service, he wrote to him that you were going home. Why had he called Kim his soulmate? What was the 11 years all about? So, by the way, this is 2018 now. This is around the time of the rape. So, apparently, she was done with all of this, right? And let's Google it. So, when did Kim Porter die? Yeah, Kim Porter died in 2018. Looked like Cassie was severely hurt because she thought she was the number one for Diddy. She thought Diddy loved her. Diddy was probably selling her a dream. She kept asking Diddy for kids. Kim Porter had kids with Diddy. Diddy probably was going along, buttering her up. She's thinking she's number one. She's like the attractive trophy wife that Diddy's bringing to red carpets. She feels like that's why she keeps doing more and more freak off, whatever, to kind of edge out these other girls. The Gina girl comes in. She starts trying to remix the freak off. Like, you want to do a freak off with a girl? Like Cassie's doing a lot to become the main girl. She thinks she's the main girl. Kim Porter dies, and when Diddy writes like this long Instagram post after her memorial service, Diddy calls her his soulmate, and Cassie is floored because now it's like, yo, the 11 years meant nothing? What? So now Cassie leaves. Supposedly that's when they break up. She breaks up with him. Diddy comes over, and supposedly that's when the rape happened. Okay, cool. So what was it 11 years about? Yeah, Cassie said yes. Estavo says, was that hurtful? She says, at that time, yes. Estavo says, after the memorial service, you never saw Combs again. She said, I did not. He let you go, right? I never saw him again. I don't know about letting me go. So I guess the rape happened before the memorial service, right? And the capture must have happened before then too. Estavo says, you got married to the love of your life, right? And the judge said, let's break. They're back. Said, let's get these couple things done before the jury returns. Estavo says, we think it's appropriate for this message to come in. AUSA Johnson says, we have issues with phrases like, I'd like to reconnect. AUSA Johnson says, what state of mind is this offered for? The judge says there are portions that are properly admissible, so this needs to be redacted because it's going to be admitted into evidence. For example, the 5th paragraph, I've been getting my life together, blah, blah, blah. Estavo says, all right, we could get that through other exhibits. The judge says you can redact it right now. Estavo says, we'll do it right now. Teddy Garagos, Combs, Teddy Garagos on exhibits and redactions, says, I want to say that we're finishing the cross faster than he thought, probably before the next break. Agnew Phillips says, can I speak with the government for 1 minute? The judge says, bring the jury back. Okay, the jury enters. Estavo says to Cassie, Ms. Ventura, we're almost done here. Cassie says, all right, thank you. Estavo says, I'll read Mr. Combs' messages. You're going to make a beautiful mother. God bless. Cassie said, then I said, thank you. God bless. Cassie then says, I wrote, we should talk and have closure. Estavo says, Combs then sent a tear face emoji. He said, you were always my ride or die. Ventura says, I thought it was nice. Estavo says, you've been craving that, right? Cassie says, before. I don't think I was craving it now. So she's saying that Diddy calls her a ride or die. And it says, you were always my ride or die. And that made her feel good, right? That made her feel good. Estavo then says, you shaped you over 11 years, right? You shaped each other. Cassie says, yes. Estavo says, your husband's a physical trainer? Cassie says, yes. Estavo says the house you grew up in Connecticut, was it relatively modest compared to mansions? She says, yes. Estavo says you were preparing to tour with a Matt Testa. Ventura says, yes, he's an engineer. Estavo says, once you settled your lawsuit, you canceled the tour, right?
She
Cassie
got
says,
money.
Yes. How her lifestyle changed after November when she got the 30 million from, or 20 million from Diddy. Estavo says, because you no longer needed the money, right? Cassie said that's not the reason why she canceled the tour. Estavo says after the hotel video came out, you posted an Instagram video saying that domestic violence is the issue, right? Cassie says, yes, I still feel that way. So, ooh, remember that? So they're saying even Cassie was talking stuff to just domestic violence, not sex trafficking. This is right here. Thank you for all the love and support. Domestic violence is the issue. It broke me down to someone I never thought I would become. With a lot of hard work, I'm better today, but I'll be always recovering from my past. Thank you for everyone that's taken the time to take this matter seriously. My only ask is that everyone open your heart to believe in victims the first time. It takes a lot of heart to tell people the truth out of the situation that you're powerless. And I offer my hand to those that are living in fear. Reach out to people. Don't cut them off. No one should carry this weight alone. This healing journey has never ended, but the support means everything to me. Thank you. Okay. right? Estavo says, Mr. Combs wrote, want to freak off one last time. What did you write? Cassie says, I didn't want it to be the last time. I wanted to freak off for the first time. So it looked like Diddy, when it's wrapping up between them, Diddy's like, yo, you want to do one more freak off for the, you know what I mean? For the one time? Cassie was just like, yeah, I want it to be the last time, though. So Cassie looked like she wanted to continue the freak off. Estavo says, no further questions. Judge doesn't read it right? So now the AUSA gets back up. It says, Ms. Ventura, you were shown this message where you ended, right?
Keep in mind, she wanted the freak offs after they had broke up and had met up for closure, and he raped her. She still, and he said Kim was his soulmate, and they officially broke up. She still wanted the freak offs. Gabe, like, this is the perfect motherfucking wife. What is that? What the hell?
I don't want to freak off for the last time. I want it to be the first time for the rest of our lives. What did you say after that? Ventura says, yes, I'm horny. Just got over a UTI. AUSA Johnson says, you were shown messages today in which you and Sean were kind of loving. Ventura says, yes. AUSA says, did those period ever last? Combs objected. Judge overruled. Cassie said, no, they didn't last. They'd be a downswing. AUSA Johnson says, in what world did Sean open up to you? A world of chaos. In your 11-year relationship, who did you want to have sex with? They keep saying this. Ventura says only him at that time. AUSA says when Sean wrote, seduce me all day, what did you do? Write about freak-offs. AUSA says, were you able to cancel work obligations for freak-offs? Yes, if I was told to. AUSA says, when you were shooting the movie in South Africa, you blocked him. How did he contact you? Through Mia. By the way, I think they're putting a bridge through this idea of Rico and organization, and Mia's Diddy's former personal assistant. So now I could imagine Mia's going to come up soon. By the way, I'm going to read you guys donations in a bit. AUSA Johnson says, he said he didn't remember hurting you. Did you believe him? Ventura says, not always, because I knew him. There were times he was pretty aware of what he was doing. It's just who he was. I'd seen him be violent with other people. AUSA Johnson says, on the way back from Cairns, what did Sean do? He played me a video. By the way, they asked this already. The AUSA is like doubling up on a lot of stuff. But I guess they want this to be the last point the jury hears. Played a video of me having sex with an escort. AUSA says, what did he say he'd do? Ventura said he said he'll release it. After AUSA says that when you guys in New York, what did Sean ask for? A freak off or he'll release it. AUSA Johnson says, when Sean wrote, you ready for tonight, what did he mean? A freak off. AUSA says, what were you afraid he would do if he didn't get that freak off? Estavo says objection. Objection overruled. Ventura says, I don't know that week. The judge says, next question. Johnson says, do you have any doubt that Sean raped you? Estavo says objection. They overrule that. Cassie says, I have no doubt. AUSA says, after Sean raped you on the 18th, did you later have consensual sex with Sean during which your now husband FaceTimed you? She says, yes. AUSA Johnson says, why did you cancel the tour? Ventura says, because after I filed my civil suit, it was overwhelming. Addressing the past the way I chose to was overwhelming. I did not want to go. Did you plan to file more lawsuits? She said, no. AUSA Johnson said, would you give back the $20 million if you hadn't had to do freak offs? Estavo says, objection. Judge says, overrule. Ventura says, I would give it back to get my agency back. I guess it means my innocence back, right? AUSA says, did he beat you during the freak offs? She says, yes. She starts to cry. Ooh, okay. This is about to be a drop mic moment. You can tell. AUSA Johnson says, were you open to freak offs at the beginning? She said, at the beginning? AUSA says, did you tell him when you no longer wanted to do them? Yes, more than once. AUSA says, what concerns did you have about saying no to freak offs? She said, safety, career, love. AUSA Johnson says, no further question. Judge says, Mr. Estavo, this is going to be a recross. Estavo says, wait, hold on. You knew Mr. Combs' sexual preference was these freak offs, right? She said, well, I learned. Estavo said it was part of being his girlfriend, right? Cassie says, yeah. Estavo says, you kept your own device, right? She says, yeah. Hold on. Ooh, shit. Okay. Okay. And freak off videos in this case. So they're saying that Cassie kept videos of freak offs. They said they were all on those devices you kept from 2012 and 2014. She said, I don't know what year. Gustavo says, you were able to stand at his side at the Met Gala, being his girlfriend. It gave you access to producers, right? She says, yes. Beyond Kid Cudi, what other musicians were you put in a studio with? Were you put in a studio with Nicki Minaj? Yes. Okay. Uh-huh. Oh, there was a fake post saying Nicki's name got brought up. It's not true. It was only, this was the first time Nicki's name was ever brought up. Okay, cool. It says, Gustavo says, were you put in the studio with Lil Wayne? Cassie says, yes. Were you put in the studio with Rick Ross? Pusha T? She says, yes. She says, am I forgetting any names? She says, well, you've got a lot of names. Gustavo says, you're self-conscious about your musical talent. She says, I wouldn't say that. Gustavo says, you've had a bad performance on 106 Park, right? She says, early in my career. Gustavo says, you did music videos. Were they successful? The judge says, can we have a brief sidebar? Gustavo then comes back and says, D-Rock was like a member of your family, right? She said, like a brother. Gustavo says, the assistant Mia, you also had a friendship with, right? She says, yes. Gustavo says, okay. Here you begin an explicit message, and he responds with one. You're actively sexting. Gustavo says, you stated that you were feeling overwhelmed after filing your civil lawsuit, right? She says, yes. Gustavo says, well, didn't you receive a settlement from the Intercontinental as well? She says, no. Gustavo says, you made a demand. She says, yes, 10 million, maybe. Anything further? Okay, so it looked like they threatened to sue the Intercontinental. We don't know if she got the money. We don't know if she got the money. She made a demand. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if she got the money. She said she was in talks with them and agreed to the 10 million. Yo, Diddy's investigators are goated. They brought up something that nobody should know about. Cassie just agreed to a settlement. That means somebody from the Intercontinental leaked it to Diddy's investigator. That's lit. Oh, okay. So he said, oh, she didn't receive the settlement yet. Oh, she didn't receive the settlement. Okay. Just as anything further, he would say Johnson. So this is like a redirect. Says, I have one question. The judge says, I was asking Mr. Gustavo, could you wrap up in 2 minutes? Gustavo says, this is the last thing I'll ask you to read, Cassie. Cassie says, thank you. And she reads, we need closure and understanding. A.O. St. Johnson then goes for her 2 minutes and says, why did you keep your devices? Cassie says, I was afraid of what was on them. I wouldn't take him to the Apple store. Gustavo, and then they go to Gustavo and says, you have one question. And it says, you just reached a $10 million settlement with the Intercontinental last week, right? Before trial. It says objection. And they say it's overruled. Yes. So the $10 million, she's going to get the 10. Wow. Here's the thing. As part of that $10 million settlement, there's an NDA. I'm actually surprised they didn't make it even a bigger thing. There's an NDA. They should have said relevance, whatever, like what the fuck, who cares? But even though there is relevance, she has to answer this honestly though, because it's a criminal court. Criminal court trumps everything to do with NDA and civil. Okay. They're gonna bring up an FBI agent. And the FBI agent is gonna be the person who investigated the case. Wow. Let's go to here.
Got a question for you, Ben, from Christina. Do we know if any other victims and how many will be testifying about Cassie's original?
I want to see the lunchtime, feedback of what was going on. Let me go live. All right.
Right, because she might be.
We just want to see the lunchtime shit, right?
Maybe
we can get it. Okay, let's go to Fox 5 for Lisa Evers. Fox 5 New York. Fox 5, here we go. Oh, by the way, so Cassie's done. Her lawyer did do a press conference. So her civil attorney did do a press conference after she got off the stand.
It's hard to put into words how honored I have been to represent.
This thing is a bag collector. He secured 20 from Diddy and 10 million from Intercontinental. This guy secured the bag.
And Cassie Ventura, since we filed her civil complaint in November of 2023, she has shown such great courage and bravery for stepping forward. And she has now testified throughout this entire week.
You should go see Lilo and Stitch.
Difficult of circumstances, just about to give birth to her third child, and under some very difficult circumstances because of the subject matter of what she testified to. Putting that aside, she was able to do so poignantly. She was able to do so graciously, and it's a real testament to who who she is and the support that she has. I have a statement from her, and I also have a statement from her husband, which I'll read in a moment. But before I do, there's a few people I want to thank. Most importantly, I want to thank my partner Meredith, who's here, as well as the other attorneys who worked on the case at our firm, including Kat Dash, who's also here. And I also want to thank, of course, the excellent attorneys in the U.S. Attorney's Office who have really been great lawyers, but also just great people who have made Cassie feel comfortable in the process. Would also like to thank the court staff who have made our appearance this week easy, the Department of Homeland Security, the marshals, and with that, I'd just like to read a statement that Cassie just prepared, as well as her husband. They're two separate statements. I'll read Cassie's first. This week has been extremely challenging, but also remarkably empowering and healing for me. I hope that my testimony has given strength and a voice to other survivors and can help others who have suffered to speak up and also heal from abuse and fear. For me, the more I heal, the more I can remember. And the more I can remember, the more I will never forget. I want to thank my family and my advocates for their unwavering support, and I'm grateful for all the kindness and encouragement that I have received. I'm glad to put this chapter of my life to rest. As I turn to focus on the conclusion of my pregnancy, I ask for privacy for me and for my growing family. And then I have a statement from Alex Fine. Over the past 5 days, the world has gotten to witness the strength and bravery of my wife, freeing herself of her past. There is
Yo, shout out to the kick chat, man. I think my boy Aiden in the chat over there. Aiden, what up, boy? Hey, Aiden, you got a burner kick account, bro? Yo, does Aiden have a burner kick account? Oh, that's not Aiden. Oh, I was about to say, what the hell?
There's been speculation online surrounding how it must feel for me to sit there and listen to my wife's testimony. I have felt so many things sitting there.
Oh, this is the husband's statement now. Jesus.
I'm glad to put this chapter of my life to rest. As I turn to focus on the conclusion of my pregnancy, I ask for privacy.
By the way, yo, James Tonic, thank you for the 150 subs. Holy shit. My boy over here, he dropping the bag. 150 big subs, bro. Everybody, big W for James Tonic over at Kick, man. He dropped over 150 subs, man. That's crazy. Thank you, bro.
For me and for my growing family. And then I have a statement from Alex Fine. Over the past 5 days, the world has gotten to witness the strength and bravery of my wife, freeing herself of her past. There has been speculation online surrounding how it must feel for me to sit there and listen to my wife's testimony. I have felt so many things sitting there. I felt tremendous pride.
I know you have.
Love for Cass. I have felt profound anger that she has been subjected to sitting in front of a person who tried to break her. So, to him and all of those who helped him along the way, please know this: you did not. You did not break her spirit nor her smile that lights up every room. You did not break the souls of a mother who gives the best hugs and plays the silliest games.
See, the court didn't get to hear this.
You did not break the woman who has made me a better man. I did not save Cassie, as some have said. To say that is an insult to the years of painful work my wife has done to save herself. Cassie saved Cassie.
Spoken like a nigga who just inherited $30 million. Man, you better secure that bag, sir. I ain't bad at you. Shut the fuck up. When I shut the fuck up, say this shit, nigga, and get back to your life.
She alone broke free from abuse, coercion, violence.
Get her a Yanni sting.
Threats. She did the work of fighting the demons that only a demon himself could have done to her. All I have done is love her as she has loved me. Her life is now surrounded by love, laughter, and our family. This horrific chapter is forever put behind us, and we will not be making additional statements. We appreciate all of the love and support we have received, and we ask that you respect our privacy as we welcome our son into a world that is now safer.
Boy, he ain't make her do nothing.
Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate the media's attention to this case as well. Thank you.
Your wife
Take questions?
Your wife loved dick, sir, and it's okay. She brought $30 million to the table. So you good. You ain't got to be a personal trainer no more. You get to be a nice stay-at-home husband, sir. But then she ain't even going nowhere, so she at the house with you, so you good. She used to be freaky. She ain't freaky no more except for with you. Y'all could just be at the house all day raising the kids. She canceled the tour and everything. You would keep her at home. Y'all can start a podcast or something. Yeah, a Giannis theme, and then she could whatever, I'm sure they got some reconstructive surgery or some pussy lifts or something they could do to rejuvenate that thing. But he already 3 kids in, so he don't even care. It fits him now after all these years, him being with her. It fits to him. But after her all this stuff, it's different hearing it being described in the jury. He heard her version, but then he heard the escorts and shit version, and then seen the text and stuff. That's different. That's different from how she probably told it, because I'm sure she left a whole bunch of stuff out. Just pretty sure she did.
I don't know if you took questions. Give me 1 second. Let me just Google this. Douglas wig door press conference. Sorry.
Understand what might we expect to hear from her testimony?
So Dawn Richard, they're calling it Dawn Rashad. Okay, she didn't take a stand yet. I think we kind of got all the angles. I think we could probably move on to this investigators side of things.
I'm Carlos.
We'll kind of look
want to
around.
go shopping?
Want to go shopping on some Diddy shit, huh? I want to see if there's any videos of them going in the courtroom, this and third. Oh my God, don't tell me they apply for this thing. All right, whatever. Okay. All right, so let's get back into it. This is now, we have Cassie off the stand, and now we have a special agent that's going to take the stand, then Dawn Richard, if you want to call it that. So why is this? So we object to the testimony of the witness after special agent Dawn Richard. So why is this coming up at 3:30, blah, blah. So good afternoon, where do you work? So this is now Special Agent Yasin Binda, HSI, in the Human Trafficking Group. I'm in Crisis Negotiation Group as well. AUSA says, did you serve subpoenas in this case? Agent Binda says, yes. When Sean Combs was arrested, where did you go? They say to the Park Hyatt Hotel, room 2115, where he was staying. There were photos of the entry shown to the jury. He says, what did you do? We assigned a letter to each room and began to search. So what was your role? I took photographs of items. I signed them on the 60514 form. So what was found in the closet? He said, those photos of plastic bags full with J&J baby oil and Astroglide. Are you fucking kidding me? Wait, no fucking way. No way. Yo, Diddy gotta be an idiot. Yo, if your house gets raided and they're running it in the media that they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil at your house, my nigga, why the fuck would you still be having baby? You know they're trying to run a narrative, my nigga. Like, nigga, I don't care if you're using it for action. This nigga, I'm gonna be action now. Bro, they found the same shit. Oh, Diddy really was still thinking he on top of the world. Remember, they raided his mansions in Miami and LA. They found 1,000 bottles of baby oil. And then when he gets arrested months later, they find more baby oil in the hotel that he was staying in. And they find lube and ecstasy. So it's basically saying this nigga was still doing freak offs while he was preparing for the indictment. This is crazy. It says, what was found in the bathroom? Several bottles of baby oil. So Diddy really on some shit like he want to see everybody glistening. It says, AUSA says the bedroom. What you find in the Louis V bag? He says a medication in the name of Frank Black. So basically, the stories come together. Diddy was using this moniker, the pseudonym, Frank Black. It says, hold on. I just Pluto crying like a hole. I can hear him. Oh my God, I might have to go get him in a second. AUSA says, and what is this? It says bags of pink powder found in the medicine bottle. So the stipulation showed agreeing that it was found and tested by Customs and Border Lab Patrol Lab. AUSA reading from the strip, this pink powder was found to be ketamine and MDMA, ecstasy in the bottle. The physical evidence is passed around to the jury. So what was found in the black mini backpack? It says $9,000. It said, please take the cash out the bag. They does, and they're fanning out the bills. So Diddy had $9,000 in cash, had drugs, Astroglide, baby oil, even at the last moment of freedom. AUSA says no further questions. The judge says any cross. Tenny Garrigo says in the hotel. So Tenny is back up. She says in the hotel room, did you see any bags and clothing indicting indicating that women were staying there with him. Agent Bender says yes. The judge says the U.S. may call this next witness. It looks like they rest after one question, right? So they're like, all right, you know what, y'all got it, right? Y'all got it, right? AUSA says, yo,
the sex trafficking would have been Cassie doing the sex trafficking, not Diddy.
The government calls Dawn Richard, and Dawn Richard takes a stand and says, where are you from? Dawn Richard says, I'm from New Orleans.
Man, her husband don't give a fuck. He's a white man. He don't give a fuck about nobody calling him a simp, cook, none of this shit. He 30 million up. He is 30 M's up, man.
Yeah, AUSA says, from 2004 to 2011, who you work for? Puff, Sean Combs. AUSA says, do you see him? She says, yes. Pointed him out.
Her husband ain't got nothing to do with the case, so there's really no anything. He didn't experience, he didn't witness anything between Diddy and Cassie. He just know he was hired by Diddy to be her personal trainer. So he really, anything he would have heard would be hearsay from what she told him.
AUSA says, who's depicted in this photo? She says, Cassie in 2009. Did you observe an incident between Puff and Cassie? Dawn Richard said she was attacked by Sean Combs and kicked. AUSA says, do you see more violence against Cassie? Did you see more violence by him against Cassie? She says, often. A photo of Diddy Dirty Money was shown. AUSA says, when were you a member of this group? She says, from 2009 to 2011. AUSA says the incident in 2009 when Sean Combs beat
This
Cassie.
her on the stand now.
Sean Combs' LA home. We were recording.
So this is Don Richard's testimony. Okay, this from
AUSA says,
Dirty Money, not the yeah, that was what was the girls group name? Danity Kane. Okay, yeah, Danity Kane.
Oh,
and a couple of them made Diddy Dirty Money.
And Dawn Richard takes a stand and says, where are you from? Dawn Richard says, I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. AUSA says, from 2004 to 2011, who do you work for? Puff, Sean Combs. AUSA says, do you see him? She says, yes. Pointed him out. AUSA says, who's depicted in this photo? She says, Cassie in 2009. Did you observe an incident between Puff and Cassie? Dawn Richard said she was attacked by Sean Combs and kicked. AUSA says, do you see more violence against Cassie? Did you see more violence by him against Cassie? She says, often. A photo of Diddy Dirty Money was shown. AUSA says, when were you a member of this group? She says, from 2009 to 2011. AUSA says the incident in 2009 when Sean Combs beat Cassie, where was it? Says in Sean Combs' LA home. We were recorded. What did he do? He was saying, where the fuck is my food? He grabbed a black skillet with eggs and tried to hit her over the head. Cassie dropped to the ground. So what did she do? She went into the fetal position. Then what? Dawn Richard says, Sean Combs was kicking her in the head and body, then dragged her up to the first floor. Glass was breaking and there was yelling. I was scared for her and for me too. Did you intervene? Dawn Richard says no. AUSA says, did you call police? She says no. AUSA says the next day, what happened? Dawn Richard says that it had been passionate and she was okay. That it would be better if we didn't talk. That people could come up missing. AUSA says, how did you understand that? Dawn Richard says, death. What? What the hell? Agnifilio says, objection. They have a sidebar. Back from sidebar. The judge says, jurors, you can leave for the weekend, watch the Yankees play the Mets or the Knicks. If you're not into the sports, there's a lot going on. Basically saying, just don't look into things discussing the case. See you Monday. Okay.
That was quick testimony.
Mr. Richard, you can leave. The judge says about this line of testimony, not Mr. Richard, it should be Mrs. Richard, right? Because it's Dawn Richards. It's about this line of testimony. Comey says this shows consciousness of guilt for count one and relevant to count one. Agnifilio says it's not sex trafficking, it's domestic violence. The judge says, why didn't you bring a motion in line on this? Agnifilio says I did not know. Agnifilio says we can't sit here and say Ms. Ventura did anything because of this event, because she didn't talk about this one. So it's rank speculation. The judge says, but she was there. Agnifilio says she doesn't know the effect on Cassandra Ventura. The judge says, who are the next witnesses? AUSA says Kerry Morgan and David James.
Aubrey testified.
Kerry Morgan, David James. Who's David James? Oh, that was an assistant. Now, there's two Diddy assistants that's going to testify against him, Mia and David James. Mia and David James are testifying against him.
Unless they just got 100 witnesses lined up.
Interesting.
Even what Don just said, shows he's violent. They don't show sex trafficking, which is the main thing they're trying to accuse him of.
Okay. So we were caught up. Cassie's off the stand. Dawn Richards is still on the stand.
Well, that's it. That's where we at until Monday. She told Nick Cannon, I'm going to go there. He said, go ahead. I was like, Aubrey never backed down with Diddy. He met his match with her. I don't know how. She was on The Masked Singer and made a little speech when she was eliminated. Yeah, and we still don't. We don't know. We don't know who the hell she is outside of Danity Kane. So, well, no, I think wasn't she the other one? Because I know two of them. I want to say Dunn and someone else. It was two of them that made Diddy dirty money with him. It was her, Dunn, and somebody else. Maybe it was Aubrey. I don't know, but she still can't. She linked to Diddy. She ain't got no choice but to be linked to him, good or bad. Sucks to be her. I don't know what type of Diddy. I don't know what kind of power this nigga had, but like none of these groups that he signed, none of these niggas from these groups have been able to go solo or even go anywhere else as a group with a new name and record any music. We have not heard from any of these people, and the band was talented. All them folk could rap and could sing. We ain't heard no solo albums unless they was underground mixtapes. But as far as dropping a mainstream album, it didn't happen. Danity Kane, Day 26, Dirty Money without Diddy. I don't know how they were doing. I think they were arguing about some of the tapes. I don't know if they said it was going to be some pornographic stuff. They still arguing over about if the Wall Street Journal and sites like that could get the actual tapes. But yeah, they're supposed to show some of the freak offs. And don't nobody care what Aubrey got to say. I mean, she can tell Aubrey better write a damn book. Or if she ain't wrote, unless she signed the NDA, and then she may as well film a Tubi movie or something. Go to Netflix, go to 50 Cent, something. I don't know. I don't know. Why is Aubrey on The Masked Singer? Oh, well, she was a celebrity contestant. Okay, the singing, because you got to guess who it is under the mask. Whatever. It might be D Woods too. I know for sure Dawn was part of Dirty Money. I thought it was the black and the light skinned girl. I don't know. I don't remember seeing the videos. I remember the songs though. Diddy Dirty Money was a great album. I jammed this sucker. It's nice. But all right, y'all. That's all I got. We caught up until Monday when day 6 resumes. There's 1 week out of an 8-week trial predicted. So we got about 7 more weeks to go. Until the next episode, we out.
Never been a hoe, I stay on go, so what the business? Nigga talking reckless, shoot his bitch ass with the quickness. Now he bleeding, sorry, begging, asking for forgiveness. Bow, 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 limp biscuit. All my niggas wildin', they done labeled us a misfit. Wake up every morning, 2 or 3, 5 in the thick bitch. Oh shit, didn't nobody come to see you old, it's some focus. Shoot 100 shots, no reloaded. Master of the game, you would think I'm into coded. Memphis niggas spit this pimpin', mackin' like I'm golden. Ho, with my money, you gon' turn me to the old me. Stay high, first class flight, I'm in the nosebleed. Copy, cooking, whipping, shipping, till you count the proceeds. OG, I've been moving back niggas since 03. Low key, niggas hating, but they don't want no beef. State gang, true sippers, bitch, I bet we gon' eat. Get jammed, get a lawyer, make it bunny, don't speak. Pour up, oh, I need some more, nigga had a long week. Shout out to my plug, he showed me love, he out in Long Beach, I'm true geek. Walking by myself, but left with two freaks. Ooh, we, nothing in they mouth and on they booty. Austin Power swag, yeah, baby, this is groovy. You can call me Money Boy, or you can call me Nudie. Hood niggas, churches, chicken, let me get a two-piece. Top down, two-seater, let me feel the two-breeze. Gotta hold it steady, chopper, kick it back like Bruce Lee. Lately, I've been in the zone, I guess I'm in my 2-3. Don't call my phone for nothing less than a QP. Feeling like the Migos, cause my bitch is bad and bougie. All my haters love me, all these bitches is some groupies. Came a long way, I like to introduce the new me. Standing on business like I'm king or like I'm Drewski. Call me Ron Island, cause I like my love for shoes. Yeah, when we link it's a movie, she bustin' like a Uzi. I love the way she do me, I beat it up like Uzi. She dancing just like Suki. Call me Ron Island, cause I love my love for choosy. When we link it's a movie, she bustin' like a Uzi. I love the way she do me, I beat it up like Uzi. She dancing just like Suki. I never been a hoe, I stay on go, so what the business? Niggas talking reckless, shoot his bitch ass with the quickness. Name pleading, sorry, begging, asking for forgiveness. Bow, 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 Limp Biscuit. Never been a hoe, I stay on go, so what the business? Nigga talking reckless, shoot his bitch ass with the quickness. Name pleading, sorry, begging, asking for forgiveness. Bow, 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 Limp Biscuit.